iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friend. So let me give you some things I want to talk to you about before I get to my Minnesota Viking podcast preview. As of right now, it looks like Sam Darnold is going to be the starter week one. I think that seems to be logical. Baker Mayfield will not be starting. I've been very impressed with Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if you guys have been watching Hard Knocks. You know, there's some guys who I'm impressed with, such as Tyrod, such as Jarvis Landry, such as Hugh Jackson. I mean, most of the time I watch these coaches and I wonder there's no surprise why these guys get fired. I say Hugh Jackson, I love this dude. I really do. I like him a lot. I think Todd Haley's a piece of crap. And I think Greg Williams is a piece of crap. Really, I don't like these guys at all. But Hugh Jackson, man, if I owned a team, I had to have no problem. Absolutely no problem letting him be my team's coach. Looks right now that Chris Carson is going to be the lead guy. Rashad Penny is out for a little bit. There's conflicting reports. Some say he's going to be back week one. Some say he'll be back week 3 or 4. I think it's going to be more like week 2 or 3. I think he's going to miss week 1. So when you're in Vegas, Chris Carson has to go way up on those draft boards because the first couple of weeks is those all-in, all-play weeks, right? Where you're just trying to get 2 wins. Carson might help you do that. He might help you do that those first 2 weeks. So I think that he's got interesting value. Much like, D'Angelo Williams had a few years ago. Remember when Bell was out and Williams was good for a few weeks? I think the same thing here. Penny's going to get that job eventually. It just may not be right away. All right. Let's get to the Minnesota Vikings podcast preview, and then I'll give you all that scout information that you know and love a little bit later. Very excited here. First of all, Kirk Cousins, quarterback here for the Vikings. This Viking team absolutely can make a deep run, and I think Cousins is going to be a reason why. I'm not sure why he's going so late in drafts. The guy's going to throw for 4,000 yards. He's going to throw for 25 touchdowns. He's got a great offense around him. I don't know why he's not the 7th or 8th quarterback off the board. This guy's going like 11 or 12th. Take him. Take him. You're giving me Kirk Cousins in a draft. I'm going to take him. I think, this was on some radio show I was listening to. Maybe it was NFL Radio, Sirius XM, NFL Radio, and they said, like, if Minnesota's winning, Cousins won't have to do so much. Agreed. But still, this is the NFL. He's not going to throw for 210 yards each week. I think he's going to have to do something. So I'm a big Kirk Cousins fan. Dalvin Cook is such an exciting player, and I think his value may slip the more we don't see him play in the preseason. Let me just share this. When he doesn't play in the preseason, people get nervous. But if he does play in the preseason and gets hurt, you're hating life. I'm going to be happy if he doesn't play, because if he doesn't play, he doesn't get hurt. Like Saquon Barkley. Do you think I need to see Saquon Barkley play? I don't. I've seen it. I know he's good. I don't need to see him get one more carry. I don't want to see him get one more carry in the preseason. If he didn't touch the football again, I'd be just fine with that. I feel that way about Dalvin Cook. Maybe it'll drop his draft numbers a little bit. Maybe he'll go in the second round. Maybe he'll go in the mid-second round. I'm good with that. I really am. So sometimes you just have to believe, right? You know what I'm talking about. You believe in something or you don't. I believe that Dalvin Cook will be fine this year. That said, I think Lat Murray will have more opportunity than you think. I think this guy will get 5 to 7 carries a game, maybe even more. I would say maybe even 6 to 10, maybe 12. I think that's possible. I think you want to keep Cook fresh, but I think that he's going to get 12. I think 6 to 12 carries about right. I think he gets a series here and a series there, and if anything on the goal line and short yardage, I think Lat Murray plays. So I think of him as like a running back 4. So he's certainly draftable. The Vikings are very lucky. They've got two receivers who are number one receivers both in the NFL and in fantasy. Adam Thielen was absolutely unstoppable last year. The guy had 91 receptions. He had close to 1,300 yards. I think this year maybe he gets 80-something receptions, maybe, 1,100 yards, 1,200 yards. The touchdowns aren't necessarily there, but touchdowns are hard to predict in the NFL. How many guys get stopped on the 2-yard line? Tons of times. So I think that Thielen may be worth getting, I still think he's a third-round pick. I think Diggs is worth a third-round pick as well. I think this is a guy who's getting better. He had 64 catches last year. I'll give him 75 this year. I think he gets over 1,000 yards. In the playoffs, who do they go to? They went to Diggs. He was their guy. I like Diggs very much, so I would be all about him. He's another third-round pick. It's amazing. 2 third-round picks from the same team in a fantasy draft. When was the last time you've ever heard that? Laquan Treadwell has just been a disappointment to me because I love this guy coming out of Ole Miss. His numbers in college were spectacular, and I thought he was a can't-miss prospect, but he's been missing all over the place. I'm not drafting him. Maybe in a best ball draft, I'll take this guy in the end, but nothing more than that. At tight end, there's Kyle Rudolph. Rudolph, the red zone reindeer. I love him. I think he's a great player. And I think he's a guy that, he always seems to get 50, 60 catches. But don't forget, in 2016, this guy had over 80 receptions for 800 yards. Will that happen again? I don't think so because Adam Thielen became more of a force. But if he can get 60 catches, and he's going to get you those touchdowns, right? 7, 8 touchdowns, whether you're playing in a PPR or standard or half-point PPR, he certainly has real value there. Lot of guys. The defense is very good here. There's no guy at Barr, Kendricks, Hunter, Harrison Smith. This is a defense you want to own. Now, they don't get a ton of sacks, but they do just play great defense. And if you're in a league where it's, how many points against, they will certainly help you there. Kai Forbath, I think, is going to end up losing the job because the Vikings spent a 5th-round pick on Daniel Carlson out of Auburn. So that would be a little, I think he's going to lose a job there. But I think you're going to see Kai Forbath actually pick up with some other team because he is a really good kicker. And although I'm surprised they went for Carlson when they had Forbath, but that's what they did. Okay, so on the Minnesota Vikings, let's recap. Cousins, absolutely a quarterback, 8, 9, or 10. Dalvin Cook, first round or early second round pick. Lat Murray, certainly an RB4 in fantasy leagues. Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, absolutely guys you can take in the third round. Kyle Rudolph, probably an 8th, 9th round tight end. There is a lot of fantasy value on the Minnesota Vikings. And of course, the defense, one of the top 5 fantasy defenses in football. And whoever wins that kicker's job is going to be one of the top 5 or 6 kickers in fantasy football. So this Minnesota Viking team is chocked full of guys who can help you win your fantasy football league. So please keep your eyes peeled on the Vikings. I think they make a deep run. I think you're going to see the Rams. I think you're going to see the Vikings. One of those two are going to make the Super Bowl. They're very well coached, and I like them very, very much. Okay? All right, a few other things. I want you to go to mockdraftnow.com. That's mockdraftnow.com. When you go there, you can win $2,500 to mock draft. I was just talking to a guy this morning. I was doing a podcast with him, and he was talking about he was on Yahoo, and he hates the mock drafts. Well, because those mock drafts stink. The ones on Mock Draft Now are exceptional. Why are they great? They're great because they're actual high-stakes players, and the ADPs are correct. They're not BS ADPs. They're the correct ADPs. You go on Yahoo, you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get from people, right? Because they go in, they draft their player, and then they leave. And then you've got a crappy mock draft. You want the best mock draft, mockdraftnow.com. That's where I go. And you know what the great thing is? It's free to play. It's absolutely free to play. And you can win $2,500 or a free trip to Vegas, right, for the World Championships if you have the best team. How cool is that? All right, other things. I want you to go to scoutfantasysports.com. Ronas, Sean Childs, myself, we are busting out content every day. There's an injury, boom, we're on it. There's a piece of news, boom, we're on it. Message boards, we're on it. We're everywhere. Rankings, we're on it. I was talking to Derek Pearson last night. There are so many guys in this industry who are giving out fantasy football advice. How much money have they won in the industry? My guess is zero. I'm telling you, we are high-stakes players. We pay money to play, and we play at the highest level. That's the advice we're giving you. We're giving the highest level of advice. Why wouldn't you want an accountant who knew that worked at the best firm? Right? I mean, wouldn't you want the lawyer who was top dollar lawyer? These are the best guys. We're the best guys in the industry, and we're at scoutfantasysports.com. When you get the info from Scout, when you go to scoutfantasysports.com, I want you to take everything you learned and I want you to bring it to playffwc.com. That's playffwc.com. Best ball, online championships, main event, whatever it is, you come play there. The payouts are amazing. The customer service is unrivaled. The draft experience is great. I love our leagues. We don't have that BS third round reversal. We don't have tight ends at 1.5 points. The best 4 teams almost always make the playoffs. That's what I love so much about our leagues. PlayFFWC.com. All right, time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I'm going to be back tomorrow. The New England Patriots podcast preview is coming. Nothing but Belichick and Brady. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!